Breaking news. Syrian state media are reporting Israel has conducted a rare daytime strike next to the Iranian embassy in Damascus. Reuters is citing Lebanese security sources saying that the airstrike killed a senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps leader, Mohammad Reza Zahedi. In 2010, you should know the U.S. Treasury sanctioned Zahedi, calling him the commander of the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force in Lebanon. And he played a key role in Iran's support to Hezbollah. So much more we can learn about him. What we want to know now is, did Israel hit a target that it wanted to? Trey Yingst has details. Trey, from the ground, what's happening?
Yeah, Harris, good morning. This is an extremely significant development. According to Syrian state media, Mohammad Zahedi, one of the leaders of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, a commander that was involved in the weapon shipments for Iran to groups like Hezbollah and Iran-backed Syrian Shia militias, has been targeted in an Israeli airstrike this afternoon in Damascus, Syria. We have seen some of the aftermath video next to the Iranian embassy in Damascus, indicating a massive explosion took place. Zahedi, one of the commanders very close to Ismail Khani, the general in charge of all Iranian activity across the Middle East. Now, if this is confirmed by the Iranians, we should be very clear what took place here. According to reports, an Israeli airstrike took out one of the top Iranian generals in the Middle East, targeting a facility linked to the Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria. This is one of the most significant developments of the conflict so far, and it will have repercussions across the Middle East. We are waiting to hear from Iranian officials in Tehran. The Israeli military has not yet commented on the strike. And again, we are sourcing this information to Syrian state media. But the latest information that we have, Mohammad Zahedi, this top Iranian general, appears to have been killed in an Israeli strike this afternoon. Harris.
All right, you talk about repercussions, consequences. What do you mean? What will that look like? What could it look like?
Israeli forces will likely be on high alert throughout the day and into this evening. We should look back at recent history to see the types of responses the Iranians have conducted when their top generals have been targeted in similar strikes. We know that back in 2020, outside of Baghdad's international airport, when the Americans killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, the Iranians fired ballistic missiles toward a U.S. base in western Iraq, the Al-Assad air base. Now, we don't know if there will be a similar response to this targeted assassination today in Damascus, but it is an indication that the Israelis will have to remain on high alert, understanding that Iranian proxies in places like southern Lebanon could be further activated, as they already have been throughout the conflict over the past 177 days, and possibly respond to this strike.
So, Trey, I want to get into this a little bit because, you know, we've been hit north of 150, 60, 70 times, our troops in the Middle East. And you talk about a move that helps the United States by taking out a commander that reloads with ammunition and does a whole lot of damage for the Quds Force of the Iran Revolutionary Guard. You talk about somebody with that kind of power. That, no doubt, helps our cause as well.
Absolutely. Mohammad Zahedi is the main individual who facilitates the weapon shipments from Tehran to places like southern Lebanon, but more importantly for American troops, to places like Syria and Iraq. This is an individual who is a top brigadier general in the Iranian military echelon. He is responsible for supplying these Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias with the rockets and weaponry that they are using to target American forces in the Middle East, and the same weaponry that is being used by Iran-backed Hezbollah to target Israeli forces in the northern part of this country. So it's a significant development. The targeting is really substantial and symbolic when you look at where the strike took place.
Yes.
The Iranian embassy compound in Damascus. And when you see some of this aftermath video, when it pans to the left outside of the embassy, you see a portrait of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani that was taken out in that U.S. drone strike in Baghdad back in 2020.
Yep.
Harris.
Under former President Trump. And you talk about, and people do. because it's an election year. You talk about comparing what Joe Biden and his administration have done in retaliation, in response to all of the attacks on Americans in the last few months. And you look at something like this done by the Israelis, and you look at what was done to take out Soleimani, who you just so, I mean, it's unbelievable, the imagery of this and how a picture of him sits alongside what was just taken out next to the Iranian embassy. You look at all of that and what's happened under the current president and the loss now, the drifting away of support for Israel, it is mind-boggling. Trey Yingst, always fantastic reporting. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.